All right. Good morning, everybody. It's a sad day, but it's a great day. It's our last day of the No Barriers Summit. Has anybody had any fun? Woo! All right. Well, if I haven't met you, my name's Dave Sherna. I'm the Executive Director of No Barriers, and I think I could say with confidence that this has been the best summit ever. Yeah, and we have an incredible finishing lineup. If you guys can hear me over in the Innovation Village, if you're still exploring some things over there, come on out. We've got our final lineup here. We're looking forward to finishing off the day really strong. I'm not going to say very many words. I just want to say some thanks. I want to thank our local partners, the National Ability Center, for all the hard work they did to make the clinics possible. And again, I want to thank all of you for making this a real priority in your lives. We hope to see you at next year's No Barriers Summit, which will be in Colorado. You all have a choice. You have a chance to help influence where in Colorado. So if you take your survey, which is going to come to you digitally, in that survey, there'll be a question, and we'll list a couple cities, Copper, Vail, Boulder, if you're familiar. And you can have some votes and influence our decisions. We hope to make that announcement in the next few weeks. So please do take your survey. That's one way we find out how to improve the experience. So I'm really up here to tell you about a couple of things. One, how many of you were at the opening ceremony? All right, opening ceremony, good. Well, at the opening ceremony, you heard Jack Weinstein tell his incredible story of swimming to Alcatraz and raising funds for No Barriers. If you haven't done so already, you should go and take your own No Barriers pledge. The pledge does not have to be about raising money for our organization, though Jack did that and that was extraordinary. The pledge is really a personal manifestation of what does the No Barriers spirit mean to you and what are you going to challenge yourself to do leaving here as a result of everything you've learned. So I took the pledge back in November, No Barriers Pledge Online, and I pledged to get in the best shape of my 40s, and so I'll be running a half Ironman in Croatia in September. And I can tell you it's a lot of work to train for a half Ironman when you have a 3 and a 7-year-old and you're running No Barriers, but I am taking this as my No Barriers moment. And I challenge you all to please go online and take your own personal pledge. We believe the pledge is going to be a national, if not international, movement, and we hope to get 1 million people to take the pledge in the next 4 years. If you take the pledge and you share it with us online, you can get your very own No Barriers flag sent to you, which we hope you display and take a photo of yourself whenever you've completed whatever that pledge is. It does not need to be a physical challenge. It can be something in your life that you want to change. We've had people pledge to quit smoking. We have people pledge to do more with their children in the coming year, to work less. Think about what this spirit means to you and go take the pledge. Also, when you finish the pledge, you're going to get one of these great medallions, which are a testament. It's kind of like when you finish a marathon, you get a medallion over you. We'll send you that as well. So we're going to get started with our MC. This morning's MC is someone that I've known for many, many years, Tom Lillig. He's our board president. And for those who don't know Tom, he's really an extraordinary individual. And a lot of Tom's energy and passion for No Barriers have been present even in each of your experiences here, even though you didn't know it. So Tom runs a great marketing firm called Stone Ward, and they have done all of the design and imagery. And if you've ever heard this phrase, what's within you is stronger than what's in your way, that came from their team. All these No Barriers icons. Does anybody like collecting these pins? Yeah? Well, that was all from Stone Ward and Tom Lillig. So Tom, he has been working tirelessly for our organization actually since we started it. And as board president has really helped elevate the organization to an extraordinary level. Tom, one thing that I love about Tom is that when he comes to a summit, he goes all out. He goes to as many clinics as he can. I was in a clinic with him that was meditation, And Sam, who was facilitating it while we were in meditation, he says, if anyone feels like they just need to grunt, they should start grunting. And we're in a room with like 20 people, and nobody's going to do this, right? But of course, it's Tom who starts grunting for everybody. So he puts his full energy and passion into this experience. And we were lucky enough to capture a little glimmer of that energy and passion while he was at the amputee soccer clinic. So please watch the screens.
It's something that we do for the USA, all USA teams. I believe! I believe! I believe that! I believe that! I believe that we! I believe that we! I believe that we will win! 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 I believe that we will win!
Thanks, Dave. It is true. I do tend to get a little excited, but I think that's all about the passion that we all feel. I just let it out, and as Dave was saying, I was a little worried heading into meditation whether or not I'd be able to get it out, but thank you, Sam. I'm hoping they don't have video of that, because that would be really embarrassing. But I feel a lot of energy here today at the closing ceremonies. I feel it from all of you. I feel like I'm looking out at a group of people that has reached, that has elevated, that has found rope teams, and ultimately has moved closer or surpassed those barriers in their life. And when I feel that energy, I just have to get a chant going. I just have to, right? So let me ask you something. Have you tried something new at this summit? Good, good. Let me ask you something. Have you felt like you've extended yourself like you've never done before at this summit? Good, good. Have you felt that this is the best No Barrier Summit ever? Yeah! All right. On those shirts that you have our slogan. But it's more than just a slogan. It's something that should live and breathe in each and every one of us. It should compel us and propel us into action. That slogan was on the wall of the U.S. women's soccer team that just won the World Cup. But that slogan means nothing if we all don't take stock of it and put it into action. So, with all this energy I'm feeling, just follow my lead. What's within me is stronger than what's in my way. Okay, and this time we're going to do it with a little extra oomph for Sasha Repchevsky. He's a board member that had a big accident yesterday, but he is back here today. 14 stitches and counting. He's here. Where is he, buddy? All right. What's within me? What's within me is stronger than what's in my way. Thank you. You guys are the best, biggest rope team ever. So now it's my honor to introduce our first speaker. And it's someone that has reached, that's extended, and done some many new things during this No Barrier Summit. Scuba, rock climbing, kayaking. Kara Elizabeth Yarkhan, born in India, raised in Canada, joined UNICEF in 2007 after working 6 years with the UN World Food Program. Until the end of 2014, Kara served as a child protection specialist, spending most of her time as a spokesperson and international program advisor. Today, Kara is the founder of her own company, Rise Consulting Services. At the age of 30, Kara was diagnosed with a very rare recessive genetic condition, HIBM. HIBM is an adult-onset progressive muscle wasting disease which affects all skeletal muscles, typically leading to incapacity within 10 to 15 years. There are fewer than 1,000 known patients worldwide, and at present, no approved treatment or cure. 13 years after her initial onset, the first fall, Cara now walks with the aid of her leg braces and a walker, which she affectionately calls her Lamborghini. I am proud to welcome my friend and our special guest, Cara Elizabeth Yarkhan, and her Lamborghini.
Good morning, No Barriers Summiters! What beautiful sunshine we've got today. This has been a phenomenal weekend for me. I came here to this summit to meet you, to learn about where you're from and what you've been through and why you came here yourselves. And you can be sure that when a man like Jeff Evans tells you that a summit is going to be a great experience, it's going to be something awesome. But this was more than I expected. This was more than I hoped for. And after 3 days, I have fallen in love. I have fallen in love with No Barriers and all of you. And that's you too, Oklahoma. Never before have I felt so accepted. Never before have I felt so understood. And never before have I felt so energized and alive. I came here with an open heart and with an open mind, challenging myself to try sports that I never dared to attempt before when I was strong. And the only thing that was more exhilarating than climbing up those rocks yesterday to witness that stunning mountain view and realizing happily that I do not have a fear of heights were the conversations that we have shared. The heartfelt moments of kindness to help each other, to support each other, to keep going and strive on, and the loving acceptance of who we are as we are. I always knew what I wanted to do with my life. It came to me when I was 6 years old, watching a telethon about famine in Africa. I wanted to help these children. And I learned at the age of 12 that I could do that by working for the United Nations. So I set my goal, I pronounced my dream, and I went for it. And fresh out of college at the age of 23, I became an international humanitarian, started that with career with the United Nations, helping the most at-risk children around the world in the most destitute situations. My dream had come true. This was my calling. I was achieving every day what I had worked so hard for. I knew my place. I knew what I was good at, and I was good at my job. And even though I was on the other side of the world, far away from my family and friends, missing out on so much, I was happy. I felt invincible. Now, I grew up like many of you, athletic and active, running, jumping, skiing, skating, dancing. How I love to dance. But yes, at the age of 30, in the prime of my life, a time when I was hoping to get married and have many children, I was diagnosed with that rare, progressive, genetic muscle wasting disease. And I could not comprehend what that diagnosis meant for me. I couldn't fathom what the future would hold. My parents were devastated. And because when a doctor tells you that the muscles in your body from head to toe are dying at an accelerated rate, that you should quit your lifelong career, move home to be taken care of by your mom and dad, that there's only 1,000 known patients, there's no treatment, and there's no cure for this crippling condition, basically your life is over, what do you do? Well, I don't know what you would do, but for me, I moved to Africa. I was going to continue. I was going to continue serving the world's poorest children, And off I went to Angola in southern Africa, what had just come out of a devastating 30-year civil war, to work for UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund. And while I continued to thrive in my work, moving on to assignments in China, Madagascar, Thailand, Mozambique, my body was becoming weaker and weaker. And it just took 5 years that I had taken on 2 leg braces and 2 canes. And walking had not only become substantially slower, but now it was also really painful. And I'd stumble often, and I'd fall, and I'd hurt myself, and I would get frustrated that my body couldn't keep up with my fast-paced mind. And then in 2010, Haiti, it's beside the Dominican Republic, experienced an earthquake, the most devastating natural disaster in modern times. And 1.6 million people were displaced in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And I was asked to serve in that emergency operation. Now that my disability was apparent, visible, my vulnerability was out there for the entire world to see, I was told by so many people that I should not go, that it would be too hard, that it would be too dangerous in my weak physical state. But I was stubborn, loyal, and committed. I was determined that nothing was going to keep me from my humanitarian mission. Nothing was going to keep me for what gave me my identity. And off to Haiti I went, and I loved it. It was hard. It was hard to live in a 12-foot shipping container. And I struggled to get around on my own on that large military base that was not accessible in any way. And it was somewhat dangerous. Haiti is the kidnapping capital of the world, and I am an easy target. But the physical struggle, as difficult as it was nothing compared to the stigma and discrimination that I faced. In so many countries around the world, people with disabilities are thought of as useless, a curse, possessed by the devil, unworthy, contagious. But I'm not any of these things. I was just me. And on my first day of work in Haiti, in addition to my role as a corporate fundraiser, I was assigned to be the disability focal point for UNICEF. But other than walking with 2 canes and 2 leg braces, I didn't know anything about disabilities or laws or programming for other children with disabilities. What did I know? What would I do? I had to learn. And in that first week, I attended an investment forum that was hosted by the president of the country and former President Bill Clinton. The venue was this beautiful luxury hotel, not at all accessible. And I just hoped that people had thought I'd lost my legs in the earthquake and they might help me. And I had to beg the staff in the hotel to help me get down the stairs to this conference room where I was there to do my job. And off to the side, there were 2 ladies who I guess assumed that I didn't speak French. And they said, "Look at the way she walks. It's disgusting." I didn't know what to say. My heart was racing, my cheeks were flushed, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And then it just hit me in a flash. I was like, I don't have time for this. President Clinton's waiting, I gotta go. I have learned to choose my battles. I have learned not to let people's cruelty and ignorance hurt me. Nevertheless, I did cry the first time someone called me a cripple. I have become very proud to be a woman living with a disability. I am proud to make up a part of human diversity. And I am proud to be a voice for those who don't have one. There are 93 million children under the age of 14 in the world with a disability, 80% of which live in developing countries. And many of them don't even have a birth certificate, which means they have no access to healthcare, education, or basic services. They simply do not exist. We are so fortunate here in the United States to have the laws and policies like the ADA, a robust civil society with organizations like No Barriers that are dedicated to making sure we are seen, that we are empowered. For everything that this cruel disease has taken away from me, my work with and for children has given me back tenfold. And if I was to live this life again, I would want to live it with a disability. And while I don't suffer, I do struggle every single day. But that struggle has become my fountain of courage. So while some people might think that today's the best day of my life because tomorrow my muscles will be weaker, I say that with tomorrow's struggle comes more courage. And the greatest adventures of my life, adventures that I want to share with you. Living with a disability is a platform that I have embraced. It has shown me my purpose in life, while no barriers. And this summit has unleashed my fullest potential. So get ready and summit with me. Thank you.
Cara, that is a standing ovation. Enjoy this moment. This is your No Barriers community. We love you. We thank you. Thank you so much, Cara. So Cara just told her story. We know that there are many, many, many more stories out there in the audience, and we encourage you to share those with us when you feel like you want to. One thing that we at No Barriers embrace is also the idea of when things don't go our way, sometimes we just have to fly by the seat of our pants. Watch this.
Diminished, less, invisible, outcast, ostracized, infirm. These words are often used to define disability. But if we open our minds, we might see something different. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you.
Thank you, guys. We have the pleasure of having board member Bill Barkley on stage to help us present some awards. Come on, Bill.
Hey. Good morning, everyone. There you go. I probably should have told you I was hearing impaired, so you had to work at it anyway. Welcome. This is a time today that we wanted to reflect and help other people. At No Barriers, as you know, we're always seeking ways to help people within our community. And so we receive a lot in terms of volunteers, money, resources, and it's really taken us a long way. But we also believe that it's in our DNA that it's important for us to give of ourselves and our organization if we have that ability to others. So I want to talk to you about the Boston Marathon in 2013. As we know, the bombing affected many people. People lost limbs, lost hearing, vision, and a whole host of other injuries as a result of it. So it's no surprise that one of our founders, Hugh Herr, got together with some other people at No Barriers, and we created what we called the No Barriers Boston Fund. And the Boston Fund is designed to help those people who have lost a limb to live a rich, full, and active life moving forward. So many of the injured were athletes, runners, people whose very sense of self and also quality of life were defined by participating in such an event. As a result, many people don't know that you can have a prosthetic, but then if you want to get back to the things that you love to do, if you're active, run, swim, and a host of other activities, that you need a sport-specific prosthetic. And so the No Barriers Fund, Boston, was created to provide those tools to those who wanted them. So today, I'm excited and also extremely honored to have the ability to share with you that we are going to have announced right now 3 recipients for the No Barriers Boston Fund. 2 of those people are not here today, but we do have one of them here. And so I will introduce them in a moment. But as you've seen during the course of the past couple of days, the power of transformation can be extremely powerful. And going through the process of harnessing adversity can take you to places you can't quite possibly imagine. So it is really a true core belief that we believe, as all your shirts say, that what's within you is stronger than what is in your way. So that transformation is going on real time with a family that I'm going to have you meet shortly. This family has been through quite a bit. We have a loss of a child, loss of hearing, we have loss of limb, and we're all affected in many ways. It's my honor to introduce to all of you today to Bill and Jane Richards as they come up and we give them a little recognition for the prosthetic that she will be receiving in the future. Come on. Can you hand me the flag? No, over here. Okay. There you go. The flag.
I swear I didn't ask her to come up. I told her she could stay down, and she came around and she wanted to come up, so. Thank you, Bill, and thank you, everybody from No Barriers, for an incredible experience. When Jane lost her leg below the knee, barriers for us were far different than they are now, as they are for all of you. I mean, barriers were just getting from one room to the next, getting out of bed, getting to the bathroom. And when folks would approach and say we'd go to different things at different rehabilitation hospitals, and they'd say things like, oh, you know, you're gonna climb Mount Washington someday, and we'd kind of look and say, you know what, we just want to be able to get out of bed by ourselves. And so those were the barriers then. And then as time goes by, and Jane is sporting a running leg that was courtesy of another nonprofit called Wiggle Your Toes, we thought at the time, you know, she's not ready to run. And sure enough, as time went on, she got stronger and she was ready to run. And she was wearing out the padding so much that Nike developed a pediatric pad for it. Hey, hold it up. Wears out far.
Yeah.
Wears out a lot less. prosthetic companies are terrific, but they're geared more towards people a little bigger than Jane. So we have to fight a little more for things her size. And so when we first found No Barriers last year, we were invited out. It just wasn't the right time for us. Again, speaking of barriers, Jane and I had other barriers with our ears. We had ear surgeries, so we couldn't fly. And even this flight was our first flight since everything happened, so I was a nervous wreck. Jane was fine, but everything turned out fine. When you get your ears repaired, there's a possibility that when you go up 25,000 feet that they could reperforate, but thankfully everything turned out okay, and so we're thrilled to be here. I can say that I've learned a lot personally from all of you. You're here in a community with people who have all different afflictions. I don't even know I'm still learning what the right words to use are. So, with different disabilities and how you respond to people with different disabilities. I've learned how to be more confident about people who have limited vision or complete loss of vision, and how to offer an arm or a shoulder to someone who's having difficulty walking. I think it was Jack on the opening ceremony said that here we're in our comfort zone. When we all leave, we kind of go back to the real world where people are still looking at you and kids are asking questions, and you kind of just wish that parents would teach their kids how not to stare, but they stare, and because they're kids. But you wish they'd teach them how to deal with people who are walking with a walking stick, who are walking with a prosthetic, and ask the right questions and not the wrong questions. But again, I think it's a process for everybody. It's a process for us. And being here today, like Jack said, we need to go back, and I spoke to young kids back in Boston. I mean, I'm preaching to the converted here. I mean, I hope the folks at the Canyons, I'm sure the wait staff in the restaurants have learned a great deal this week that they wouldn't otherwise have learned. And, if they can hear me, a shout out to the staff at the Canyons, for having us. And because it's not easy, we know it's not easy being on the other side. We want people to understand and be more tolerant, but it's difficult. So it's a process, and it's our job to go back, and when something happens that makes you uncomfortable, just to try to teach people, pull them aside, say, hey, this is what you should do. Instead of maybe reacting this way, you might want to respond this way. So we met with Hugh Herr, who is kind of famous in these parts, but he's our neighbor at MIT. And when Katie Watkins, who's no longer with No Barriers, reached out to us with the Boston Fund, with the No Barriers Boston Fund, we jumped all over it because we realized one additional barrier for Jane was not her ability to swim. Most people who amputees opt not to swim with the prosthetic limb. The barrier was the beach. The barrier was the sand. Water may be a barrier, but sand is the enemy. Thankfully, Jane's below knee, so it's less of the enemy. But the problem Jane was having is loving the beach. It would be going to the beach, playing in the sand like all 9-year-old kids want to play, but all the components would get filled with sand. She'd walk down to the water. She'd go into the water. Her leg would come off. She'd have to kind of, really joyfully yell for help, and her brother Henry and friends would go diving for her prosthetic leg, which we'd get a kick out of, or it would wash back up on shore. So we asked No Barriers for what we call a water leg or a sand leg, and so they said absolutely. They graciously sponsored a leg for Jane. It was about 2 days from being ready before we came out here. Otherwise, she'd have it on, but it's going to be ready for us when we get back. And it weighs 24 ounces. I don't know all the terminology. I should ask my friend Aaron to come up to explain it, but they built it in such a way that it's got minimal metal components, so it'll be resistant to rust. And it's a double socket double socket system, so she can lock in, and now we can go to the ocean and we can walk in the surf, which is something that Jane hadn't been able to do the last 2 years because we didn't want to get it wet. And if she wants to walk in the surf, she can swim with her leg, or she cannot swim with her leg. And if it gets sandy, all you need to do is just take a hose to it and hose it down. And we won't have trouble with the locking system anymore jamming because of sand getting caught. So if we take good care of it after every use, it'll serve Jane well at the beaches in Massachusetts and the lakes that we go to in New Hampshire. So really, from the bottom of our hearts, on behalf of my wife Denise and Henry, who are here somewhere, we had a great time. We had a great time, and we've come a long way since April 2013, and I want to thank you all for all the prayers that we probably didn't know about, all the thoughts that you sent our way that we probably didn't hear about, but we know that even out here in Utah and this beautiful part of the country that we've never seen, we felt the love from all over the country. So thank you very much.
Before you leave, we wanted to give you a present. I promised you a present, didn't I? A very special present. We believe that you've helped us realize that life is more than just a finish line. And as a result of it, you guys really do embody the no barriers mindset. And we want you to know that we love you, we support you, and we hope you'll keep this as a special momentum of our experience here in Utah. And enjoy a no barriers life.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you, guys. Another amazing No Barrier story, live before your eyes. Bill, would you like to come up and make some award presentations?
Yes. I got this here. I'm hot.
You're always hot.
You learn the lingo when you get back here. Anyway, sometimes as you move forward to the future, it's important that you look back in your journey of life and what you're pursuing in terms of your goals. And so what we wanted to do today, while we're celebrating the largest and one of the most successful No Barrier Summits that we've had, thanks to all of you, we also wanted to look back to how we started and introduce you to some people who have made this whole thing possible. So with that, I have the honor, and I'd like to introduce to you one of the first founders, Jim Goldsmith. Jim and his wife Connie started pretty much a startup organization. The two of them engaging the local community and going after what they called this no barriers mindset. And as a result of it, you can see many years later where it has taken us. So this is the man that had the vision along with the people that he had with him to start. So we want to give him special recognition and thank him for helping us build No Barriers to where it is today. Thank you. The second one, who is also, when you have to have partners in crime, is a gentleman I'd like to introduce that many of you have been seeing doing the wall out here. He's been out there all day, every day, and he loves being a part of the No Barriers experience, not only as someone who's involved with the organization, but someone who likes to really meet and engage and help people transform their lives. So with that, I'd like to introduce Mark Wellman. Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. Mark, along with Jim, spent countless hours and time connecting with organizations all around the country to get them to be a part of Innovation Village, to help them bring in speakers, and then also to set up all of the different adventure clinic that all of you have been experiencing today. And so as a result, we would not be here if he had not started this along with Jim. So thank you, and we appreciate it.
You bet, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Our third and final Director Emeritus Award goes to Julie Dubin. Julie, could you come up on stage? Julie has been the heart and also the hands of our youth programming since day one. She was a co-founder of Global Explorers, and she continues to lead us into the future. Julie, thank you so much for what you've done for us, the heart and the hands behind all of what we do with youth. And I think many of those hearts and hands are out in the audience, so let's put those hands together for her. And special thanks to Ben and Lily and Jeremy for sharing the husband and mother with us. Thank you, Julie. Let me give Thank you, guys, and thank you for sharing your applause with some of the people that are really the foundation of this place. So if you may remember at the last summit, for those of you guys that attended the last summit, I made a promise. And the promise is I looked out into the audience, and I saw so many people, much like you and you and you, that just got emotionally caught up in the moment. So Kleenex has provided for us under every fifth seat a little tissue packet. And since we are one big rope team here, if you don't have one under your seat, share a Kleenex with your friend. You might need it. This is our warning label for the rest of the program. Our next performer is someone that's very special to the organization and has really found a way to move me through music. Mandy Harvey entered Colorado State University to study vocal music education. But before her first year, Mandy lost her residual hearing at age 18 due to a neurological disorder. Her university dropped her from the program. Though her hearing loss is profound, her timing, pitch, and passion are perfect. With support from friends, family, and her faith, Mandy continues to find joy in the music. We are honored to have her as an ambassador for No Barriers. If you haven't heard her already, check out YouTube or catch her at places like the Lincoln Center, the Kennedy Center, the Steve Harvey Show, and today, the No Barrier Summit. Mandy Harvey, come on stage. We are so honored to have you.
I wrote this song for No Barriers about my personal experience with adapting the mindset of what's within me is stronger than what's in my way. What was in my way is fear. I'm afraid to try, I'm afraid to fail. Again, I fail a lot. So I really hope that you're encouraged by this. This is about accepting myself the way that I am. Hopefully you accept the way you are, and to not allow yourself or allow myself to become stagnant. But instead, you don't have to have everything figured out today. You just have to make baby steps and to try. I don't feel the way I used to. The sky is gray, much more than it is blue. But I know one day I'll get through, and I'll take my place again if I would try, if I would try. I don't love the way I need to. You need more, and I know that much is true. So I'll fight for our breakthrough, and I'll breathe in you again if I would try. If I would try. Oh, there is no one for me to blame, 'cause I know the only thing in my way is me. I don't live the way I want to. That whole picture never came into view. But I'm tired of getting used to the day. So I will try. So I will try. If I would try. If I would try.
Mandy. Thanks so much. You were amazing. So did those Kleenex come in handy for anyone? Kelly Wagner, Suzanne Cutts, wherever you are, I hope that they came in handy for you. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. We are very pleased to have our co-founder, board member, inspiration to us all, the reason why so many of us come back and keep on coming back to give to this organization, to come to the summit, and to keep all of us reaching higher. Eric Weinmar. Eric. Come on out.
Oh, I'm up.
Do you want me to? I'm
Hey, bring me to the podium, John.
Podium over here. Right here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect, Tom. Thanks. Awesome. Yeah, my biggest barrier today is not falling off this 10-foot podium. Yeah, that would be a good start. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. Everyone enjoying themselves this morning? Has everyone enjoyed themselves throughout the experience? Yeah. Wow. So we're bringing this all kind of to a close here, and it's so wonderful to be here celebrating this No Barriers life. This No Barriers life. What does it mean? I mean, I've been struggling with that a lot of my life. You know, trying to define it, trying to explore it around the edges. Honestly, failing it and bleeding it. It's not easy, right? I'll tell you that, right? Just your choice to be here throughout this experience, you haven't chosen easy, right? Just the challenges of getting through an airport and coming to the event and taking part in all these new things that maybe you've never done before, and trying to take in all these new ideas and tools that might help you on your journey. I mean, that's not easy. And when we listen to folks like Mick Ebling and folks like Daniel Kish and Henry Evans and folks like like Tim Connors and his family, and folks like Sasha Rubchevsky and Mark Wellman and Paulo Pompanen and all the folks that started No Barriers. Wow, they did not choose easy. And, so I had my moment, my No Barriers moment yesterday, because I was taking part in all the clinics, like really trying to soak it up. And so I did this amazing scavenger hunt. Yeah, how many people did the scavenger hunt? Yeah. God, it was totally amazing. And so we were all getting to try these new devices and new motorized vehicles. And one of them, as you know, was the Action Tracker. And the Action Tracker was, one of the activities was to go through this mini BMX course on the Action Tracker. And it was really fun. So my team said, hey, Eric, why don't you try it? And I was like, well, okay. So I did. So I think this experience for me is just a perfect microcosm of the No Barriers life. Check it out.
Brakes when you let out. Straight. Straight. You're going to go down a little bit. You're coming. Yep. And now you're going to make a circle around. Yep. You're going to the left. Too far left.
You're going around the corner.
Going around. So straight. Forward and right. Forward. Straight. Forward. Good job. To a little right. You're going to go around in a circle. This way, Eric. This way. You're going to come this way. Good. Forward. Then to me. Back up.
Back up.
Towards me. Left turn. Left turn. Yep. Good. Forward.
Directions.
No,
Now
don't
right.
do that.
Now right. Over to me. Keep going right. Forward. Right more.
Right
more.
more.
Yeah, you're going into the right.
So there you go. We're all living it, right? We're all living it every moment. Thank God for my wife, Ellie, came out there and saved me. I have a smart wife. And so it's been really exciting to be a part of this community. And, I think this really, when we think about this No Barriers life, these journeys, these No Barriers journeys, they're always starting and ending and beginning anew and intersecting. Really, I think it does begin with a vision. A vision. And when I say a vision, I'm not talking about a goal. I'm not talking about climbing Everest, or I'm not talking about doing something, achieving something, accomplishing something. When I think about a vision, I think about something deeper. It's deeper than a goal. It's where all our goals spring from. It's how we see ourselves living our lives and serving other people and impacting the world. What kind of legacy we want to leave behind us. And again, not a goal. It's really, a vision is that thing deep down in our gut, that yearning that says, I want to live a full life, as hard as that may be. I want to become the best version of myself, whatever that looks like. I think a vision is like an internal compass. It guides us through good weather, more importantly, through bad weather. And it tells us where we're going and why it's so important we get there. When I went blind from that very rare disease called retinoschisis, it was just about a week before my freshman year in high school. I wasn't thinking yet about a vision. I was just thinking about survival, just getting through the day, just being led from class to class, being led to the bathroom, sitting in the cafeteria, listening to all the excitement and all the laughter and all the joy, all the food fights passing me by. I wanted to be a part of all of that. I didn't want to miss a second. And I was looking at my life through a rearview mirror into the past, into all the things I'd lost, the people I loved. I'd never see them again. But I think more importantly than that loss of vision was the fear that I would be swept to the sidelines and I would be left in a dark place and I would be forgotten. A life lived for nothing, a life that was meaningless, that was 10 times more terrifying than going blind. And I could still see just a little bit out of my right eye, and if I got really close, I could watch TV. I'd press my face right up against the screen, And one night, I was watching this show. They were focused on a guy named Terry Fox. Terry was back in the 80s. He was a Canadian. He had lost a leg to cancer. And he was still in the hospital when he decided that he was going to run across Canada. Now, I can tell you, this is not the intuitive decision a person in his situation should have made, right? This is a marathon a day. And back then, before they had these high-tech prosthetic legs, I mean, he was hobbling mile after mile. Terry was in the hospital when he was watching children die around him of cancer. And instead of allowing that energy to crush him, he gathered it up. He harnessed that energy. And he converted it into something bigger, something that became like fuel. I call it vision. And it was that vision, that fuel, that drove him mile after mile after mile. The look on his face was an absolute contradiction, full of exhaustion, yet at the same time full of exaltation. And I thought to myself, there's something inside of us. I mean, at the time, I could just describe it as a light that seemed to have the ability to feed on frustration, on setbacks, to use those things as fuel. The greater the challenge, the brighter that light burned. And I hoped it existed in me. And if I could use it, if I could use that light to feed it, to nurture it, to grow it, and to turn into the storm of life and emerge on the other side, not just unscathed, not just damaged as little as possible, but actually stronger and better. And I've come to understand what Terry does is something called alchemy. It's the ability to take lead and to turn it into gold. And I've met a lot of alchemists along the way. Mark Wellman, who I think may be still hanging around, the first paraplegic to climb El Capitan in Half Dome. Imagine doing 7,000 pull-ups up a vertical rock face in 8 days. And he's been running the rock climbing wall. And Hugh Herr, double-leg amputee, who is the head of MIT's Media Laboratory, who was one of the early folks in the organization, building prosthetic legs with rubber feet, specially designed for climbing. In fact, when Hugh climbed this rock face in Colorado called, it was an El Dorado Canyon, he watched people failing on the route, and he went up and he flashed it. And somebody said, Hugh, that's the most amazing thing. Tell us your secret. He said, well, you know, I noticed there was a hold out of people's reach, so I just made my legs a foot longer. That's what an alchemist does. They turn lead into gold. Yeah. And Skylar, I think we missed some stuff, but you meet amazing people along the way. See if you can go back to Andy Holzer. Some amazing people along the way. You know, I've met people on my No Barriers journey that literally have, it's been like Ripley's Believe It or Not. On one of our first No Barriers summits, it was in Cortina, Italy. I was climbing a rock face after the summit, and my friend Mike and I were climbing. We didn't decide where we were going to climb until that morning, just based on the temperature and on the sun. And we were climbing up, and I noticed all these helicopters around us. Amazing. I was like, why are the helicopters around us? And this Italian teen to my right said, well, they're filming The Blind Man. I said, well, what do you mean? Nobody knows I'm here. And we climbed a little higher and a little higher. My friend Mike, he belayed me up onto this ledge, and he said, Eric, you are not going to believe this. There is another blind guy on this rock face. And it's true. His name was Andy Holzer. He was an Austrian. He was doing this documentary. Look at, you know, the blind man climbing this massive face in the Dolomites. And sure enough, another blind guy pops right into his film. Yeah, it's almost like he thought I sabotaged it. So he was sort of annoyed. He's like, you know, first he came over and on the sledge, he said, what is the blind man's name? And I said, my name's Eric. And he said, how hard do you climb? And I answered him, and then he said, do you lead climb? I said, sometimes. And he said, what is the highest thing you have climbed? And I said, Mount Everest. And he said, oh, the Mount Everest, Eric. And then we're best buddies. And we climbed together the rest of the way up the rock face. And And Andy joined our No Barriers community. And at the top of that rock face, the tiny little rock face with the wind buffeting us around, I said, Andy, I hear it's a long way down. I got to start rappelling down. He said, Eric, I have a surprise for you. I'd like you to be a guest in my helicopter. So helicopter swoops up, we all pile in, drop out of the sky. A minute later, we're drinking beers, Cokes in front of the Refugio. I said, Andy, I'll climb with you anytime. You just let me know the time and place. So he did. He called me up that winter and he said, Eric, I have another climb I want us to do together. He said, but this time, only me and you, only blinds, no sighted people. And so that's what we did. My friend Charlie Mace, who I think is out there, hiked us up to the base, and then Andy and I started climbing. Check this video out.
Are those rocky steps going? Searching his own way.
For our big climb together, Andy chose one of his favorites, the Red Tower, a 500-foot rock face in the Austrian Dolomites. This would be a first in history, 2 blind guys climbing totally unsupported.
Hey Eric, give me your hand.
All right.
Do a good job.
Thank you.
All
you too.
the best for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
We decided to alternate leads. Andy took the first one. He's climbed this route many times.
Heimatland. Eric, you can climb.
Andy offered me to lead the second pitch, the hardest part of the climb. As Andy's guest, I couldn't refuse.
Is it wet?
Being blind, we have to feel for every hand and foothold, and it's a lot easier to get lost.
I found it.
Great.
Then I lost it. Then I found it again.
That means you found it 2 times. It's double success.
Leading is the riskiest part of climbing, even for a sighted person. Often you're climbing way above your anchor, and you're looking at a big fall.
I'm at the anchor. Start.
Once we finished the steep climbing, the real challenge began. 100 yards across the plateau to the summit cross.
Okay, it's fixed.
We decided to flake out our rope and drag it behind us so we could find our way back.
Here is it better. To the left or right? I think it's more here to the left because the stone has.
Between us and the summit was a big crevasse that we had to get across. Andy and I have our own techniques for finding our way. He clicks and throws stones. I feel with my trekking pole.
You are on the trail, Eric? I'm just going right. And you go left and I'll... No, I think it's right. Fix here, Arrow.
Andy Holzer, he didn't choose easy either. And, you know, as we go forward in this No Barriers journey, I do wish it was easier. I wish it was less messy. But as we grow, as we try to quote unquote transform, we embrace a very tumultuous process that can be downright terrifying, like riding a wave just on the edge of chaos. For me, that was learning how to whitewater kayak. As some of you know, I took a 6-year journey to learn to kayak and to make this a part of my own No Barriers journey, and to connect this project to No Barriers to help raise awareness for the organization and for our growing movement. And so I started kayaking with my friend Rob Raker, all sorts of things to figure out how to pioneer, how to guide a blind person through rapids, whether to use radios or not, so that I could hear in these big rapids, whether the kayak guide is behind me and in front of me, and what kind of network of guides do I need to be able to be safe. Lots of things to work through. And as I learned to kayak, I'll just continue this theme. It wasn't pretty. Check this out. This is some scenes of me learning. You can hear this really deep roar. Not being able to see it, it's almost, well, maybe it's more intimidating than being able to see it.
It's shifting, it's changing directions. It's tossing you side to side unexpectedly. And you're trying to bust through that totally chaotic environment just by the sound of your guide's voice, by the sound of the river, and by what you're feeling under your boat. I've worked hard. I put in hundreds of hours of repetition, only to get smacked down, flipped over, pull my skirt, and there I am, swimming again. One of the biggest challenges has been how to deal with fear, not to let it paralyze me and crush my confidence. Because every run, even if it's down the same rapid, it's totally different. And when one thing goes wrong, and it often does, it's a cascading series of things going even worse. And trying to respond to all that, it's like sensory overload.
So when we think about, thank you, these No Barriers journeys, I think what's tricky is that we want to grow. We want to even transform, although that word is overused and really hard to achieve. The challenge lies in the fact that we make a conscious decision to paddle out of the flat water into that storm, into that raging river, and with trust, with faith that we will, of course, be knocked over. Of course, we'll encounter things that will overwhelm the mind, will consume every part of us, but yet we will emerge on the other side changed in some way. We have to have that trust in the process. Well, my vision of kayaking, of living this No Barriers life, really culminated in a really exciting adventure. We wanted to kayak the Grand Canyon, 277 miles. And I didn't want to do it because it was, something that no blind person could do, or because I wanted to prove something to the world. I wanted to do it because it was part of my vision of living that full life, of experiencing things on the face of this earth that are iconic and beautiful, like the Grand Canyon as you're paddling down the Colorado River, walls that are almost 2,000 feet tall around you, and this river being the gauntlet to some of the most amazing whitewater in the world. I had a great team with me, as we always do on our No Barriers journeys. My friend Rob Raker. You out there, Rob? Yeah, Rob Raker, who taught me how to kayak. Every time I get knocked over and swim in those early days, he would be there to say, hey, Eric, get back in your boat, and we'll try a new way. Let's break through this next barrier together. And guys like Timmy O'Neill, who some of you know him as a wild man who makes inappropriate jokes about guide dogs, about abusing guide dogs, picking them up by their tails and swinging them around. But he's also an amazing climber, an amazing kayaker, great guide, and ambassador for No Barriers. Are you out there, Timmy? Yeah, there he is. And And Lonnie Bedwell, I know you're out there. I think I heard you out there. So I was kayaking along and getting hit by rocks and flipping out of my boat and swimming through rapids. And I'd get done with a day of training and I'd say, okay, I've learned something today. I've learned why there are no blind kayakers in the world. And then I met Connie, kind of a kindred spirit. He was this phenom. He was training as a kayaker in a very world-class way by doing thousands upon thousands of kayak rolls in his pond in his farm in Indiana. That's not the typical way a world-class kayaker begins. And Lonnie is blind, like me. And so after he went blind in this accident, Lonnie, I'm going to butcher this story, but I'm going to try it anyway. He was sitting in his house, and his daughter was young at the time. Bug, I think, is her nickname. And Bug came up to Lonnie, and she said, Dad, why are you so depressed? And he said, well, I'm fine. And she said, well, Dad, I know you're depressed. I can see it. What's wrong with you? And he said, well, it's because I can't find the barn to mow the lawn, and there's a lot of grass in the way. I couldn't even find the barn if I wanted to. She said, Dad, I'll help you. And she took him by the hand, and they went out there, and they fought through the grass, and they got to the lawnmower. And she said, I'll sit on your lap, Dad, and I'll tell you where to go. And so he starts up the lawnmower, and he almost crashes into a wall. And he says, Bug, you're supposed to tell me where to go. She said, Dad, I'm pointing. I'm telling you where to go. He's like, no, that's not going to work, dear. Why don't you point my finger? And so she started to point his finger, and by doing that, he got out of the barn, and he turned right, and he mowed his first row of the grass, and then he turned back and he mowed it again. He said, Bug, go on up to the house. And when he finished that first lawn, mowing all that grass, she was up there cheering for him in the house. And that's how he began his No Barriers journey, climbing out of that dark place and finding the tools to keep growing and evolving and transforming. And I want to say this, just because you're blind doesn't give you some great wisdom into this No Barriers life. My entire team, we're living the No Barriers life just as profoundly as me, whether it's the struggle against cancer, whether it's struggling against childhood traumas that knock you on your butt and say, do not get up. I dare you to get up. Or whether it's just the struggles of being young and youth, and you're trying to figure out your place in the world. You're feeling a little lost and hoping that you can make an impact in the world. All of us struggle with this No Barriers life. All of us are united by the same issues, are yearning to break through those barriers and are yearning to make an impact in the world. I think that's what ties this community together. And so another amazing guy on my team, Harlan Taney. Harlan was a guy I met on the Grand Canyon probably 10 years ago. It was part of one of our very first No Barriers experiences, rafting down the Grand Canyon, part of the Grand Canyon, with a group of blind and sighted kids. And we met Harlan. He was sort of half fish, half human. And we started getting in these rubber duckies as blind people, and Harlan would blow a whistle out in front of us, and we'd go down some fun rapids together. And at the end of that journey, he said, Eric, you should learn to kayak. Learn to actually kayak, and I'll guide you down the river someday. And so that got into my gut, and I started thinking, wonder if that's possible. That doesn't even really seem possible to me. But anyway, 10 years later, here I was back to kayak the Grand Canyon, and Harlan was doing such a great job guiding me down one rapid after the next. It was chaos, but a few times, every now and then, we were in sync, and we were going through one rapid after the next until the biggest rapid in the river, as many of you know, is Lava Falls. Lava, head and shoulders bigger than any other rapids on the Grand Canyon. And so I had been building up to this one. It was like day 18 when we reached Lava. And now we got out and scouted. Says it's really important for a blind guy to scout a rapid, right? But it truly is, because there's a map. You know, I think of the No Barriers life as a map, and Lava also has a map. If you follow the map, your chances of getting through the other side is dramatically increased than if you don't follow the map. So Lava Falls has a map where you start out on the right, but there are these boils that kind of are like big pillows. They want to come up and flip you to the left and spin you to the left. And you want to not go left too much, because there's this ledge hole, a big giant crashing hole that'll hold you down for a little while. You just don't want to go near there. And then once you get past these right boils and this ledge hole, you want to hit the V wave, two massive waves coming together. You want to go right through the V. And then if you get through that, you want to hit the Big Kahuna waves, this series of crashing waves that blast over you. And then you want to skirt Cheese Grater Rock to the right. That's sort of self-explanatory. And so my first run, got back in the boat, my first run through lava, I get just in the beginning of the rapid, I'm coming into it, and I get just a little too far to the right. The boat gets spun by one of those boils, and I flip. I'm upside down. I'm going into lava falls upside down. I had trained for this for 6 years. Going into lava upside down was definitely not part of the map. It's what we call Plan B. And so I rolled up and I went into the V wave, but I was kind of off my game, and I went and I flipped. I rolled back up. I hit the Big Kahuna waves backwards, again, not part of the map. I flipped over again. I flipped over again. It was the third time I flipped over that I just panicked, and I pulled my skirt and I swam through the bottom of lava. Unbeknownst to me, what I didn't know was Harlan had slowed himself down, looking back at me, trying to stick with me. And he looked back at the wave, he braced his paddle, and it busted in half. It busted his carbon fiber paddle in half. So Harlan was upside down with two halves of his paddle, thinking, how do I roll up and communicate with Eric? So we didn't have such a good run that first time. And I sat at the bottom of lava at our camp, listening to the roar of the rapid, listening to the river. And you know, I'd wanted this storybook ending. You know, I thought human will triumph over everything. And I went into lava, and it didn't work out that way. And I thought about the river, and I tried to understand what it was teaching me. You know, in a way, human will doesn't mean a lot in the face of these massive forces like a river that are unrelenting. They're just churning forward, massive, you know, pulverizing, impacting everything in their path. And in a way, those things are a lot bigger than us, a lot bigger than us. I mean, what's human will in the face of those massive forces? Blindness was like that for me. It was too big for me to fight. And I know all of us, you know, have those massive forces in our lives. Sometimes we feel like rocks in the river, just getting affected, feeling like we're unable to affect anything. It's that diagnosis, that terrible catastrophic diagnosis. It's that tragedy, that loss, that catastrophic event. Those sometimes are the things that tell the story, not us. We're just rocks in the river. And I thought I could just keep floating down away from lava, and I could be as far away from lava as I wanted to be. And I thought about something that I tell my son Arjun. I thought about, you know, this tenuous journey that we're on, and the decisions that we make, they either open doors or they close them. And I realized that if I kept floating down the river, the door to my No Barriers life might just close. So it was after a sleepless night that I made a decision with my team that I was going to go back and try lava again. We hiked back up, and here's our second run through lava.
All right, take a nice deep breath, buddy. We're gonna have a good run. Let's just be here in the moment. All right, EW, let's go nice easy forward. Charge, Eric, charge, first wave, charge. Nice hard forward stroke, Eric. Race left, charge. Hold that line, Eric. And charge. Brace right. Hold that line. Charge. You're good. Hard right, Hold that line, hold that line. Charge, charge, charge. You're good, you're good, you're good. Hold close forward. Hold that line, hold that line. You're good, buddy, you're good. Good job, you guys, you styled it.
Thank you. So we finished our journey in September. Thanks, Lonnie, Harlan, Rob, Timmy, Chris. Thank you, Skylar. Thanks to the whole team. I think it's by living this no barriers life personally and struggling with those choices that we then enable that no barriers movement, that bigger movement to take root around us. And so this movement continues to grow. And I'm so excited that this year we have almost 1,000 people as part of our community here at the summit. That's incredible. That's incredible. This idea that we have the ability to break through those barriers, to tap into the light of the human spirit, and to live a life of purpose, to contribute to the world, that we all have that ability. And I was so inspired by all these summits, especially last year. Amanda Boxtel, she's an amazing pioneer herself. We bring together, as you know, all these pioneers that have broken through barriers, that have pushed the envelope in their lives in terms of innovation in art and science and music. And Amanda was no different. Do you remember last year or 2 years ago in Telluride when she stood up on the stage, she walked down the stage, down the stairs, she pointed at a group of folks in the front row who were in wheelchairs. She said, hey, prepare your minds, prepare your bodies for the day that we may walk again. That's no barriers. I don't think that that's a silly hope or a silly dream. I think that's no barriers. It's the spirit of pioneering. And I don't want you to walk away here, though, thinking that this is a nice, neat message for those who can't walk and those who can't see. Because I think no barriers, no matter who we are on the face of the earth, it exists in all of us. It's our own story. It's our own map and how we build it and how we navigate forward in our lives. I think it's also a pledge, as you've heard. No Barriers is a pledge that despite the challenges we face, we have the ability to build the team and to build the tools around us so that we can break through those barriers and we can live the life that we envisioned. See, I think there are a lot of challenges in the world, lots and lots of challenges that are out there that we need to continually to attack, like Terry Fox. And I imagine that as confident and prepared as all of us are, there are probably days where you wake up and you feel like you are paddling, you are kayaking blind. But see, I don't think this is the time to lose our will, the time to be clouded by fear, by doubt, to be swept aside and forgotten. I think this is the greatest time, the most precious time in history, to live that no barriers life, to create a vision that sustains you, to reach out and pioneer possibilities, to build a great team around us, and along the way as you reach to turn lead into gold, all with the idea of not just elevating yourself, but elevating everyone around you. I think we do this for ourselves, for your families, the community, but most importantly, for the sake of this wondrous world that we live in. imagine for some of you, that light that I talked about, maybe from times in your life it's flickered, maybe it's even almost gone out. But I think if I could ask you one thing, it's to go out and continue to grow that light, to feed it, to nurture it, to let it blaze, and then to go out and ignite that No Barriers life in everyone that you meet, every life that you touch. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great year. I'll see you the next time. Thank you. Thank you. I want to also just one last quick acknowledgement. For me, I've been learning about this No Barriers life, although I didn't know what to call it, even as a little kid, because my dad's a No Barriers person. My dad's a Marine, and he taught me to think No Barriers as early as I could walk, and my dad's out in the audience. Dad, you there? There he is. Cool. Thank you, Dad. All right.
Thank you, Eric. You teach us all every day about how to live a life with no barriers, and thank you for your time taking us through that wonderful talk today. We do have one final exciting wrinkle. As I mentioned before, sometimes we have to fly by the seat of our pants. Watch the interpreter. Fly by the seat of our pants. There you go. There you go. All right. You all remember at the opening ceremonies, John Bramblett created a marvelous painting for us. John, are you here? John has donated that to No Barriers. And today, we are doing an impromptu live auction to own this beautiful painting. You are all here, part of the creation of it. Now, one of you can buy it and take it home with yourselves. And I will tell you, all of the funds that we raise for it will go to scholarships so people can attend next year's No Barrier Summit. So, with that being said, I'm going to let Eric kick things off and say, you don't have to donate. All you need to do is say,
all right.
Can we start with, and you can choose the amount.
All right, I think we need to start with, well, I didn't think a lot about this, but I think we need to start with at least $1,000. At least, minimum.
1,000, raise your hand or stand up. Okay, we got 2 at 1,000. We see 1,500. 1,500 in the first row. We see 2,000? 2,000! 2,000, 4 rows back. Thank you. 2,000 going once. Oh!
No, more.
2,500.
Yeah.
2,500.
Yeah, keep that bid
Whoa,
going.
I see a hand in the back. 3,000?
Yeah.
3,000. Mick Gabling.
Cool.
Anyone else? I see
Higher.
a hand over in the far left. 3,500?
Yeah.
3,500.
Let's get this up to 5. Come on, guys.
4,000. Anyone? 4,000. 4,000. What?
Yeah.
4,000.
Yeah.
Second row. 4,000. So I see 4,500. 5,000. Is there
5,000.
Do we have 6,000 out there? 6,000.
Come
Go
on.
once. 6,000. Anyone?
6.
Can anyone go to 6?
Come on, be bold.
6,000. Is there a hand? We see a hand in the back. $6,000.
6,000. Good.
6,000. 6,000. 6,000. Do I hear 7,000? 7,000? Anyone? 7,000. 7,000. This is a beautiful painting. If you haven't met John, he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he has volunteered to let Echo be your pet for an hour today.
You
I
can
hope
look
that's
at that
okay,
painting
John.
if you can see, and it will remind you and reinforce this No Barriers life, what it means, how to live it. It's definitely worth a lot. 7,000.
We're sitting at 7,000. 7,000, do we hear 8? This is for scholarships for attendees to the next summit. Anyone? 8,000? 8,000?
Nice.
7,500. 7,500, second row. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have another bid out there? I'm really hoping we get to 10. That's my personal hope. I'm just going to throw it out there. I haven't been shy all day. I'll just tell you that. Scholarships. That's correct, sir. It is for scholarships. Okay, let's move this along. Do we hear 8,000? Is there an 8,000 out there anywhere? Can we find an 8? We have got an 8 in the back. $8,000. Wonderful. Is there a 9 out there? Would there be a 9?
Come on, Timmy, motivate us.
All right. Well, let's make this really simple. 10,000. Anyone 10,000, and then I think we can
Then we'll
just
sell it.
we can call it a night, and we can get on with our clinics. Is there a 10,000 out there?
10. Come on.
10,000. I feel that it's coming. The energy is there. The energy is there.
Yeah.
All right, come on up. 10,000.
10? We got a 10. Wow. All right.
Bill D'Amico from Columbus, Ohio is going to take
Yeah.
this beautiful hint home. But more importantly, he's going to give us the opportunity to allow so many more people to have this experience. So thank you, Bill.
Thanks,
Thank you
Bill.
all for coming out.
And the D'Amico family.
The whole D'Amico family. Thank you, guys. Dave Chernos just going to come up and say a couple final words.
Well, in the spirit of scholarships, we had a competition
great.
going on throughout this summit to collect all of these great pins about the No Barriers life. And many of you went to all the places you needed to go in order to get the full collection. And then many of you also came to Innovation Village and submitted your name to win a free trip to next year's summit. So we will give you free conference fees next year to attend our summit. And so I'm going to pick a name out of the bowl. Oh, maybe we'll have Eric pick it. All right. Sounds good. Eric, in front of you.
I'm not cheating. Dave's gonna cheat.
Eric Weinmeier. No, I'm just kidding.
And the winner is Shaolin Tan from our Warriors team. Congratulations, Shaolin. All right. Well, we are thrilled. Shaolin is not here. She had to leave a little bit. Oh, she is here. All right.
All right.
Woo! Shaolin, congratulations. Did you have a good summit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great opportunity to come back. I did it in the 2014 Soldier Summit. It's my life experience. I'm really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right, and we have one last award to give away. Some of you were a part of the Amazing Race Adventure, and Kat is going to come out here and announce the winners of that adventure. I heard a lot of people had a thrilling time in the Amazing Race, and so thank you so much. It was one of our extraordinary clinics, and Kat, please take it over.
Thank you, Dave. There's some good energy out here, and I feel pretty proud to be up here representing CBST Adventures as part of the No Barriers Summit. This is our second opportunity to be here with y'all, and we hope that continues on and on. We had such a successful event let's see, I guess it was yesterday morning. It feels only like a million years ago at this point with all that's been going on. But anyhow, you saw that footage earlier in Eric's talk of the Action Tracker Chair that he was navigating with the help of his teammates through the BMX course up top at the summit. That was one of 5 challenges we had staged all over the resort, both in the village and gondola ride away at the summit, like I said. So the goal was to come up with something really diverse that brought people together. People walked into that room, didn't know each other. We put them into teams. Maybe they knew a couple people, maybe they stayed together. But ultimately, the goal was to provide them with this diverse experience in which we actually worked closely via Sarah Kainer, put us in touch with folks, innovators that were here on site, and we were able to bring in equipment that you guys probably saw over there at the expo and incorporate that into these various challenges. So at any of these challenges, if you had, say, a team of 8, only 3 or 4 had to participate, and each person had to choose which one they wanted to volunteer for, and which one, pretty much everything required not just the skills of one person, but the skills of everybody to get it done. But maybe there was one person in the action track chair at the time, or on the mountain trike, or riding the Joelette, or in the Horizon e-trike. So these are just a few of the events that we had, and again, thanks so much to the innovators for letting us use your equipment. We had a lot of fun, and they helped out as well. So, without further ado, I will announce the winners. You know, it is a fun competition, right? But a competition is a competition. We all want to know who wins. Make some noise if you were out there at the Amazing Race. Anybody? Anybody? All right, so there were 8 teams. I'm going to actually announce the top 3. If your team is one of the top 3, I want to hear a lot of celebration. I want to see you hear your hands up. And I'm going to go in reverse order. So the second runner-up. In third place, We Will Rock You. Very nice. They were a primarily kid-navigated team, so that's a pretty special thing right there. In second place, representing from New York, the Sea Level Levelers. Where are you? Nice job. This was a close race. Only 5 points separated second from first after all that was said and done. Oh, in addition to those challenges, we also had photo challenges. We'll be sending photos to everybody who is on that race, also on our CBST Adventures page and the No Barriers tagging that we did on social media. They posted all their fun, so check us out there. But last but not least, in fact, the most important team at the outcome of the event, in first place, the winners of the Amazing Race for 2015, the Wizards. Where are you? All right, Eric was on the winning team, and no, he did not bribe us, okay? That was a legitimate win. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. I know so many people had a thrilling time with you. So we are going to close out this year's No Barriers Summit. I want to thank so many folks that I don't have time to thank, but our sponsors like Wells Fargo, Phillips, Lumber Liquidators, and so many others have made this possible. All of you, I thank you for joining us. I do want you to remember that challenge I put out at the beginning to take the pledge. And now that I've seen what our board president can accomplish with this painting, I'm going to challenge you not only to take the pledge, but to get 10 other people to do it as well. All right, so get your friends, get your family, and get 10, and together we can reach that million goal. Last but not least, I do want to say a special word of thanks. Though it takes a village to build something like this, we all know it comes down to one person, right? There's one person that really drives all of this. And where's Sarah? Sarah? Sarah! Sarah Kainer. Sarah Kainer is the one person that brought this all together. Can we give her a round of applause? All right, everybody. Well, please do give us feedback on your surveys that you'll receive online and pick your next location for Colorado. We can't wait to see you. Have a great afternoon.